Hey guys, we are in day 244 in our Bible reading plan, Job 34 through 36 and Psalm 31. Psalm 31, you're in for a treat, spend time in it. The Psalms are prayer chapters. They just help you sort of, I like it to think of it as a marinade. I read it before and after the reading. And so it's meant for that reason. And that's why we do it twice in this Bible reading plan. But we are focused on Elihu, his response. There's one more chapter after today's reading for Elihu, and then we'll move to God, which is amazing. And listen, when all said and done, the big idea is that the more you rest your life and your future on God, the less empty talk will come out of your mouth and the more peace you will experience. That's really what we're learning. I mean, Elihu is saying some good things. I mean, he talks about God's justice, and he does make a good point about Job's. I mean, sometimes when we're hurting, we say things that we wish we didn't say. And I think, honestly, I can't imagine a world where Job doesn't think, oh man, I shouldn't have made these wrong conclusions about God. So Elihu does sort of point those things out. But ultimately, our rest comes from God alone. I mean, God is God. We are not. And so we can ask why. But there's a point where you got to stop asking why. And there's clearly a point for this trial and suffering that Job's going through and that you and I might be going through in our lives. And I think God, well, it comes to questions and the discussion, but again, there comes a point where you have to surrender. That's really the word, I think, for today. And I think, in terms of reading Elihu's words, I don't have a whole lot to add. Honestly, I think you can read them. They're straightforward. I think the verse that stuck out to me was, the nun says, "Where is God, my maker, who gives songs in the night?" in chapter 35, verse 10. And it's a reminder that God He is the one who gives us songs in the night. And I love that. He delivers the afflicted by their affliction and opens their ear by adversity. That's in chapter 36, verse 15. Often it is in our suffering that we hear God the most. That's what C.S. Lewis conjectured years ago, where he said that that pain is God's megaphone for a deaf world. And I love chapter 36, verse 26. Behold, God is great and we know him not. The number of his years is unsearchable. And isn't that the truth? I mean, we don't understand God. Often we will not have an answer to why until we see the Lord face to face. Job did get answers. He will. Tomorrow we'll be talking about that. But we don't always get the answers, and that's okay. That you got to trust. That's faith, is believing God even when you don't see it, even when you might not know it. Sometimes we think of faith as believing until, yes, in the sense of eternity, but you might not get the answers here on this earth. So if you're struggling right now, I know that's hard to hear, but it's also freeing. You can hope in the Lord. I found that this was where Psalm 31 was so encouraging. The psalmist just pours his heart to God and says, hey, I got problems, but into your hand I commit my spirit. And so I hope you're finding that strength in the Lord. The end of Psalm 31 says, be strong and let your heart take courage, all you who wait for the Lord. Are you waiting on God? And if not, what are you waiting for? No one else will deliver you but the Lord. He's so good, and we're going to see that tomorrow. In the meantime, trust your suffering to him, trust your pain to him, and trust your joys to him. Love you guys.